Welcome back to the Conclave.Podcast. We have some exciting news for you today. In just 2 weeks, on March 8th, Jess and I will be back with Season 2. This season, we're looking to bring deeper topics, new guests, and a slightly different format. Until then, here's another year. One of my favorites, Episode 9, Quietest Neighbors Ever, talking about graveyard etiquette. Enjoy, and we'll see you real soon. Welcome to the Conclave. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Conclave.Podcast. This week we're talking about something that, I don't know, I think it's fairly important. It's not going to be for everybody because it's not part of everybody's practice, but it definitely could have something for everybody, if that makes sense.
And I'm going to iterate that what we're discussing and how we're discussing it is definitely from a North American perspective.
Yes.
This is definitely American traditions. Yes, some of them may have been pulled from older cultures and traditions and become part of the diaspora that is the American continent, but just as a caveat. So, like, if you're in Europe or Asia or wherever, you're like, well, that's not how we do it. It's like,
no,
that's fair. You guys got your own things. This is just how we do it.
In fact, this is even going to fall under more specifically. You say the United States, but this is probably more of a East Coast Appalachian approach to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the topics that we're touching on and the things we're going to be saying can't be applied elsewhere also. Because at the end of the day, it's all about being
aware and respectful.
Respectful is the one I was going to use for it. It's being respectful of those that you are interacting with. And we are talking about the quietest neighbors ever, graveyard etiquette. So everybody, they want to use stuff like coffin nails and graveyard dirt and all that good stuff, right? But how do we get it? We have to go to a graveyard. First, let's go and discuss the difference between cemetery and graveyard. Because there is a distinct difference. You should be doing your workings and getting your stuff from a graveyard, not a cemetery. However, the two terms are kind of become interchangeable in conversation. So if we use the wrong one from here forward, understand we are talking about graveyards, not cemeteries.
And what's the difference?
So, graveyards, they tend to be smaller, and they're attached to a church.
They are hallowed ground.
Hallowed ground. Cemeteries tend to be larger and open to the public.
And usually run by, like, municipal systems.
Yeah. Both of them will have burial plots containing graves, tombs, and or urns. So that's our definition point here.
Where you put dead things.
Is
specifically people.
I mean, there's some people that get put elsewhere.
Yes, but where you ritualistically.
Oh, that's still not true, though.
Oh, no, that's not true. Serial killers.
You can ritualistically put somebody in a shallow grave behind the house.
Where it is socially
acceptable
place to intern remains of people.
Sometimes it is all about being socially acceptable. So, Jess, let me ask you, why does it matter how we act when we're in these places?
Because people fucking live there. Broke the F-bomb.
Wow, that was the fastest yet.
Was it? It might be the second. There was.
Once we edit out the first little chompy bits of the cats interrupting the intro, you're looking like 2 minutes in. This is the fastest.
But
normally I'm the 2 minute one. But Correct. I mean, it is where it is people's home, right?
And it's not
Talking
just
in this aspect, those who have passed on.
Yeah, and it's not just one person or one family's home. It's a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of background, a lot of history.
Yep.
So you don't know where those people came from, what they're doing, what they did.
Exactly. And at the same time, this is the final resting place for a lot of people, like you were saying, and it's the last connection that a lot of people have with their loved ones. So it's where they still go to speak with them, to talk with them. We got to be respectful of other cultures and other religions.
And other people.
But when it comes to other religions, they don't have that connection to the ancestor and the dead that we in the metaphysical and the pagan world have. So they can't just sit here on the couch and be like, hey, Mom, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right? They pretty much have to go to these sites to
feel that connection
and have that connection, which is really unfortunate, I think, for them. I think it's one upside to one of the many upsides to our world is that the dead are not necessarily dead. They're still they're dead, but they're still with us.
And honestly, like, they're not that quiet to us. Like, to the point where you're like, can you
please shut up? 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I just got the kids to be quiet. I don't need your nonsense too.
Yeah.
Like,
and at the same time, another key reason on why you shouldn't be rude. Your mama raised you better than that. And especially if she's one of the ones that's already on the other side, she can see you. She can hear you. And I know this because mine is. Right? Don't be rude. Mama taught you better than that. So.
You know how to act in public. Act accordingly.
Are there consequences to actions when it comes to graveyards? And the answer is going to be yes, right?
Absolutely.
But I think it really comes down to what you're there for, who you are, and what you know, right? So the who you are and the what you know, this is where muggles have that upper hand.
Yeah, like...
For the most part, do they need to follow the same etiquette rules that we do as practitioners? No, because they don't understand. They don't know. They don't understand. And therefore, the other side is going to give them, to a degree, a little slack.
And 99.99% of the time, the muggles are there to visit a loved one.
Yep.
Or to bury a loved one. Meaning they are being extended protections by that ancestor.
Yep.
To do what they came to do and leave.
And they're also tend to be very respectful when they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're just going in and you're talking to the loved one and visiting with them,
maybe being a favorite thing on their grave.
Yeah.
Like, just...
There's a built-in level of respect to that. And I think most of the time, any spirits are going to be hanging out in the graveyard at the time, which I really don't think there's going to be many, right? Nobody wants to go and just hang out with their body. They're going to go and hang out at their favorite pub. They're going to end up hanging out at their favorite strip club
or their great grandkids
or with their family, right? So I don't necessarily think there's just a bunch of ghosts hanging out in cemeteries. In fact, one of the most peaceful places I can go to and not have to deal with the dead is a cemetery. Because for the most part, they don't want to be there either. But at the same time, if you're there for disrespectful reasons, can you catch an attachment? Can bad things happen to you? Hell yes. And I hope it does. I always go back to a story. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, a couple friends and I, we got a place together. And we lived across the street from a cemetery. And yes, using this in the proper tense. It was not attached to a church. It was a public cemetery. And it's kind of where we get the title of this episode, because I always joked the people across the street were the quietest neighbors ever. And I say that because the guy that was on the other side of the double that we lived on, the sheriffs were always coming for him, domestic disputes on it. It was not a great neighborhood. It was not a great town, right? But it's what we could afford.
Like that's what being in your 20s and on your own with roommates is.
Exactly. But there was one day when I look out my window and I see a bunch of the kids from like 3 houses down playing baseball in the cemetery. And all I can think is like, what the hell are your parents? They're going to let you do that. It's so disrespectful. I mean, they're like running over. I was raised that you don't even walk over the person's grave, right? Where the body is buried, you don't walk over it. That's disrespectful. That's how I was raised. And here's these idiots using the tombstones as bases, jumping over, champing over, pushing each other into it. And I'm like, where is your parents? Dad was out there playing with them.
Right there. And like, to an extent, I can understand why they would do that, because in especially like shitty neighborhoods, like, how much green space did they have to do something like that?
There was a public baseball field 2.5 blocks away.
Okay, touche. I'm just saying, like, maybe not in this specific instance, but I can understand why people, even historically speaking, we're talking like 1800s, people would actually go to graveyards to have picnics and stuff. Like, weird flex, but okay. And see people walking in cemeteries. They're peaceful.
I think there's nothing wrong with doing, going for a walk to the cemetery. It's like I said, it's one of the quietest places I can go to.
Yeah. And they're usually fairly well regulated. Mm-hmm. They're well kept, and they're usually fairly safe. Yeah. So, like, I can understand, like, engaging in outdoor activities in a cemetery.
Yes.
Or a graveyard, but not like, let's not play rugby.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I'm not passing around the football. Like,
now, some of the other things that can be done in a graveyard that need to be regulated in a personal self. You're looking at workings. Now we're getting back into the metaphysical world.
Yeah.
Right? So we're talking about doing workings and spells, and also collecting.
Yep.
There is
again
a really great amount of foraging that can be done in graveyards. In fact, we have one that we frequent too. You can get your dirt there. You can get water. Graveyard water is a very powerful ingredient that you can use in it. There are herbs and plants that will grow in cemeteries
or around the perimeter.
Because of where they are, they're absorbing different energy. So you find some wild mugwort that's going to be extra charged compared to what you're going to buy at a shop or forage out of the woods on your property. So there's a lot of things that you can get from these areas. And
I know where to find graveyard belladonna, and I ain't telling you.
That's reserved for special.
That's for me.
But when you're doing these things, you should always be very respectful and gracious when you're collecting these items anyway from nature. But extra doubly so when you're in the cemetery.
Although, fun fact about graveyard water that we've been turned on to recently. A lot of cemeteries and graveyards have spigots for when they're watering the lawn or what have you. They have places that you can just turn the spigot on and collect.
Yep.
Still graveyard water.
Modern solutions for modern witchcraft. Okay, that's the beautiful thing about folk magic. It's not all just how they did it back in the day. It's finding those modern interpretations.
It's adapting.
That's why I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, when I was still under the guise of you have to charge tarot cards in the moonlight, in a full moon, right? There's one time I was driving to work. I was working mornings at a hospital, and I was like, crap, I didn't put my deck out last night. I drove to work holding the deck up.
You just had it like on your front.
Oh, yeah. And charged in the car as I drove there. You find ways to get around it, right? And that's one of them. Now, if we are rude, if we are disrespectful, if we're not following proper etiquette, we can get attachments. And there are two main things that could get attached to us.
The spirits of the graveyard.
That is the obvious one.
And the spirits of the graveyard.
I kind of cover those. I count those kind of in the same. The one is spirits instead of spirits. The first one's a little bit more hopeful. It's easier to get rid of.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind we're coming from an animist standpoint, so everything has a spirit. Your house, that rock, those plants you're harvesting. Like when I say spirits of the graveyard, I'm talking about the literal spirit of the graveyard and the spirits that reside in the graveyard that were not humans. So
the other thing is we can get attachments from other people's workings.
Yes.
If I'm remembering correctly, I read a section of book, I want to say it was San Luis, that had written this about a friend of theirs
who went into one of the cemeteries down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Or as the guys I served with in the Cornwallans, his friends in there doing the working, and as he was walking through the cemetery, he banged his ankle against something. When he looked down, it was a very obvious working. It was obvious witchcraft, and it really didn't matter if it was good or not. He now had it then attacked.
It's now part of him.
The ingredients that were used in it definitely wasn't a good working. And then he got very sick. He got very much attached. He got an attachment from it. And then the author, like again, it said, I do believe it was one of the San Luis.
I believe it was, yeah.
He had to help his friend out and get a cleansing and get it stopped. We need to be conscious of what's out there, right? And the worst part about it, when you're looking at potential spells that could then get attached to you because other people are going to potentially be in the same cemetery doing workings. Because if we found a place is great for collecting dirt and herbs and has friendly spirits that are willing to help out.
And if we've done workings in a cemetery,
we're not
you're not special. Like,
I was about to say we're not Christopher Columbus, but in a way we are Christopher Columbus because we weren't the first ones there.
Right? You're not special. Other people have figured it out too.
No, you're special. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to the mean one.
You're not special in doing the thing you're doing because other people have done it before it.
So the other hard part, though, when it comes to workings, they can be buried. You can accidentally walk over top of something and thus kick up an attachment. This is why it's important that we know where we're going. We have permissions to be there. We do follow proper etiquette, and then we watch where we step.
Yep.
Okay. So before let's etiquette for this starts before we ever even get there, right? So let's go over a little bit of the getting ready process. First off, you really want to do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you want to know when public hours to the cemetery are.
Yeah. You want to know the mundane.
Yes.
The mundane, like what the rules are, what the hours are, what you're allowed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. The general rules of said cemetery.
And your first time into a cemetery or graveyard, you should not be doing anything but introducing yourself and getting a lay of the land and getting a feel for who's there, what spirits are there.
Who's there. That's another big thing about the research time and the getting ready to go there. If you're going to a cemetery that is known for cops and lawyers, you may not want to go there to collect items or do a ritual that helps get you off of a crime, right? Or if you're trying to find justice, you would want to go to a place that has lawyers and cops. There's other multiple sides to it. But
is it a primarily Quaker graveyard?
Yeah,
that's
you don't
going
want
to
to do
change.
anything that's going to have
you're not going to
spicy content to it if it's going in there.
No.
But by spicy, I mean like attacking.
Yeah, you're not going to want to do aggressive workings.
Yes.
If you're going to a primarily Catholic cemetery, you're not going to want to do things that would go against that dogma.
Yeah.
If you're in a Jewish cemetery, you might not want to be doing white supremacy things. Like, know your audience.
If you're a Schnazi, do not go to a Jewish cemetery. Or do.
No, absolutely. You should let them get
go to a Jewish cemetery, please. Please.
Let them get a little back on you.
Now, one thing that a lot of people tend to forget to do, that is nourish the body. So you want to make sure you've eaten. You want to make sure you're hydrated. And this is because especially if you're doing that to dual working, you want to make sure that your body is well taken care of to be prepared to deal with anything that you're doing or might pop up. Okay? You want to make sure that you are prepared for anything.
You need to be physically and mentally healthy.
Yes.
To do workings in a cemetery. Like, you do not want to be a little tired or a little hungover or what have you. Like,
if you got sniffles, skip it.
Skip it. It can wait.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
There are very few instances that I would determine a metaphysical emergency to the point where you need to put yourself at risk to handle it.
Yeah.
There are things you might want to speed up, but if Tuesday's no good. Go home.
Fine.
Get some rest. Eat some pasta.
Yep.
Do it the next day.
Exactly. So now that you have your research done, you know where you're going, you know all that kind of good stuff. You are full belly, well hydrated. Make sure you have your intention fully set beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you're going in for just a meet and greet, if you're going in for just maintenance of said relationship, or if you're going in for foraging or working, have that all figured out ahead of time. You don't want to shoot from the hip on this one. You don't want to just go with the flow and all that kind of good stuff. You want to make sure you have your intention set and all the tools that you're going to need for the day, not just packed, but where exactly. If you're taking a bag that has 18 pockets on it, know which pocket you put what in.
This is not a situation for just vibes only. No, you need to know what you're doing.
No. Now, a lot of people on top of it, they will cover their head. They'll wear some sort of head wrappings, right? When it comes to actual wrappings, white is preferred, but it's not necessary.
I typically choose purple.
Yeah. Again, we don't normally use colors in our practice, but if you do, white is going to be the one you're going to want to kind of go with. But I mean, our friend, Arlene, who's the voodoo practitioner that we always mention, her head wrappings are always very multicolored and beautiful and gorgeous. So,
yeah.
And it doesn't matter. The color doesn't necessarily matter. But if you are somebody that practices with color intentions, try to go for white. Okay.
And the reason for this is your crown, the top of your head is where energy comes in, usually, typically.
It's a lot of where, especially connection to
the
others are there.
The divine, other spirits, etc. Like that's where you're getting your downloads. When you put a covering, hat, a wrap, whatever, you are at least putting a filter on that so that you're less likely to get attachments or attacks.
And now the process of doing that is called veiling. I was surprised the last time, not the most recent time, but one of the last times that we were in a Catholic church in this area. There was a good number of ladies ranging from a decade or two younger than us to 3 decades older than us who were veiling. All it seemed as if that was something that was kind of coming back.
It is coming.
So, and all that is, like Jess was saying, that's putting that physical barrier, that filter between your crown and the other side.
Yeah.
Others. Do me a favor. Pop your head. Boom.
Right.
She's veiled.
Now I'm doing 8 Mile.
8 Mile.
Yeah.
Mom spaghetti on your shirt already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, item of convenience. A hoodie works. A hat works. Personally, I have a hat that is a not necessarily call it a duster, but it's what you would put and think of like an old timey graveyard worker or Quaker preacher from the 1600s.
It's fedora adjacent. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, it's somewhere between a fedora and a cowboy hat. Right. And I have sigils in there.
And that's what's
for
great.
Added protection. And when most of the time, especially if I'm going into a cemetery for workings, if I'm just going in to visit my mom, I'm not going to worry about it. Right? If I'm going in for workings, though, I'm going to, as I step out of the car and get from underneath the protections of the car, I'm going to put the hat on. And until it comes time for the working, pop it off, do what I need to do, pop it back on.
And this goes back to like having your tools in place. What's great about having a specific scarf or a specific hoodie or a specific hat that you wear. You can start building your protections into it and building like your practice into it. You can stitch, you can add little pieces of paper, whatever works for you. Like you can start charging that particular item and enchanting that item to help protect you.
Exactly. Now, that brings up a very good and interesting question. So for preparing and getting ready to go in, especially for workings and for really anything, do we cleanse before we go? Do we do a spiritual cleansing?
Absolutely not.
Nope. Unless
the working requires it, but when you cleanse, you are stripping yourself to zero.
Yeah.
So when you cleanse, you are also removing your protections. So you need to give yourself time to rebuild those protections before entering a place that is spiritually hazardous.
yes. So, if you were going into an environment that has biological agents, you don't sit there with a scrub brush and scrub your skin all the way down to make sure you're clean before you go in there, because you're creating microscopic open source, right? And then the biological, the virus or whatever it is, could potentially get in through there. You can look at the same thing if we cleanse beforehand. All right. You're leaving yourself wide open. And that's not a good thing, especially when you're going to be potentially around a bunch of spirits, whether it be of the dead or of the land. You don't know. So let's skip that part unless it's very specifically put into the work you're going to do. If it's very specifically into the work you're going to do, then you need to make sure that you are also, in any way possible, protecting and warding yourself or your vehicle or anything that you have to try to stop any kind of.
And this is where something like that, the enchanted head cover, can step in and help protect you in lieu of your existing protections.
Correct. Okay, so now let's go. We're all set, right? We are nourished. We're planned. We have everything in spot. We're perfect.
We've got our back.
Sorry. Thanks, Blair. Now we are arriving to the cemetery. And this brings in a really, I guess, culturally specific look and aspect into the cemetery, and that is the guardian spirit. So, what is a guardian spirit?
Depending on who you ask, it's very often either the first person buried or the most recent person buried.
Yes.
And their job is to basically act as the maitre d' of the cemetery, basically. They're there to either shepherd new spirits in, they're there to make sure that whoever is entering is behaving respectfully. They are the gatekeepers, literally.
Oh boy, I wish I could remember, because the difference between which one it is comes down to the culture, and one is shared between like the Irish and the Scottish, and the other is African American.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I wish I could remember which one was which.
I want to say the most recent person buried is the Scots-Irish.
I believe so also. So if both of us are thinking that, I'm going to say that's fairly accurate.
But, correct us if we're wrong.
Please do correct us if we're wrong. That goes for this and for everything else. If you think we are wrong on something, I want you to correct me, because I don't want to be teaching misinformation. I want to educate myself to better give to others. So, that being said, I do believe it is in more like the hoodoo, the APR, and the African American cultures, the first person buried is now the guardian at all times.
And looking into ATRs, that also kind of skews into Baron Sondi.
Yes. Yeah. So that would make sense. I do believe we were right, because Outlander touched on that.
Correct.
And they asked about, who would be the most, who would it be? And it was the young girl that had been killed by her brother.
Oh, yeah. The hoe bag.
Boy, I hope I'm remembering correctly, because otherwise we're really looking shoddy here, pulling in pop cultures.
Anyway.
Anywho.
We're going a little off.
Yes. In the one culture, it is the very first person buried into that cemetery, which to a degree I think is a big honor.
Yeah.
At the same time,
I want to be
that's exhausting. I don't want to be on.
When I die, can I just take a nap?
Yes.
I just want to sleep.
And at the same time, so even if the graveyard is no longer being added to and in use,
like the one down the street from us,
one down the street from the shop here, that guardian would still be on duty.
Yeah, they're still watching out for people like walking their dogs and letting them shit on the graves. Like that's still like part of their.
The other one could still end up being like that. The last one buried at that cemetery could be the one that's not standing guard for eternity. Or if it's a busy enough time and a busy enough cemetery, you may only have to work for a day, maybe an hour,
6 hours.
Yeah. So, but it's important to give an offering to the guardian. Typically, that does come through in the form of coins. It doesn't matter what denomination of coin it is, how much you give. Some will say you give just some. I fall into the belief of giving 3 coins. It doesn't matter what denomination, like I said already, the amount. I tend to do 3 pennies. I try to keep them within the same type of coin.
Depending on your tradition, that may.
Yep.
There may be more specifics, but yeah, typically I just reach into my purse, grab out 3 coins, and be like, "Here you go."
And you want to do this when you first are walking into it, right? So you give the offering off to the side, and then you give an explanation like, "Hey, I'm here to do X, Y, and Z, or I'm here to visit A, B, and C."
I asked for safe passage.
If you could protect and help me along my path, I would greatly appreciate it.
I also typically leave booze and or tobacco.
Booze, tobacco, also very good offerings.
With it, but like people, especially if you're not a drinker, get a little weirded out by that.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Arlene, not a drinker. She'll go buy like a little mini bottle.
Yep.
And that's what she brings. Like, that's okay. Like, and it's not cost prohibitive in that manner too, because you're like spending maybe $2-3 on a little mini bottle, and you're just like, here's your booze, here's your coins.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you out there who have issues, not just I don't drink, but
substance
issues, don't risk even a mini bottle. Don't put yourself in that temptation. Okay, it's not that big a deal. A little bottle of water, a little cup of water would do the same thing. A candy bar, a sandwich, if you didn't want to do the coins.
A food offering is
also good to go with it. Now, there are some people who believe that you should walk into the cemetery backwards or even have your face covered. And the thought behind that one is any spirit that might be watching that may want to attach
is going to get confused.
Is going to get real confused. So they're going to see somebody walking in backwards. They're going to see the back of the person, think, "Oh, they're leaving." Strange, you're getting closer, but they're leaving. You know, anything of that, or like, "Oh God, that person doesn't have a face. I'm not going anywhere near that."
Yeah, you know what? Like the dead think we're weird too, or we're a little spooky ooky. Like I'm pretty okay. That's fine.
So that is the arriving. The arriving is actually fairly simple. Now, if you can't do it right at the gate.
Let's say there isn't a gate, like our local little cemetery. Yeah. There's no gate. There's no fences. It's literally like a lot next to somebody's house.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that one's very easy of just as you're about to step onto the property, boom, do it there. For this specific one, there's a large old oak tree at the front corner. We do it at the oak tree.
Yeah, right? Like pick a spot that seems gatekeepy to you.
Yeah.
And that's where, because if you do it consistently, because you're building a relationship, you want to be consistent with how you're offering and where you're offering. Exactly. Just consistency is key. And do what you can. Even the cemetery we go to sometimes.
So the one we go to forage, it does have gates. But it is not a smart idea. The road that you're coming off of
is
busy.
Very busy.
So you can't just stop, get out of the car and do it. So we then drive in, we go to the part of the cemetery we're going to, and as we get out of the car, that's when and where we'll do it. Okay, so be safe about it. Also, at the same time, if there's a whole bunch of people right in that first beginning area, and you have to go further back in, go further back in. Don't do it in front of the normies. It looks weird. And people will take anything that is ritualistic and scream demonic Satan worship.
Like, devil worship. It's like, no,
don't put yourself in that situation.
I'm just saying hi to Frank. And
it's important to do this, but it's not important enough
to put yourself in danger.
Putting yourself in danger. Okay. And unfortunately, even though our world is becoming more acceptable, it's still not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Now, this was the point we taught a class on this before. This is the point where we talked about maintaining and cleaning the graveyard. I'm going to skip this part. The only thing we're going to say is bring like a plastic bag.
Bring a grocery bag with you.
Bag, a paper bag, whatever kind of bag you have to collect up trash. If you just see random
candy
wrappers and stuff
or
like
an empty water bottle or something.
Yeah.
Do due diligence like you would if you were taking a walk or a hike.
Yeah.
Don't pick something up from near a grave.
Yeah, if it's an actual like thing, leave it be. That's somebody has given their loved one something,
and
or an offering, or even a working.
The groundskeepers are going to handle it. But if you're on the path and you're like, well, that's
if you see
somebody's giant eagle receipt.
If you see basic litter, pick it up and be tidy. If you feel the need, and you know this is kind of why we included it into the class. If you feel the need to clean and rejuvenate and revitalize the tombstones, you need to have permission from the cemetery to do it. Otherwise, even though you're doing something good, you can still get hit with vandalism.
And you can still do harm if you don't know what you're doing. And
there's a lot of harm you can do. Even Dawn soapy water and a toothbrush, a hard bristle toothbrush, even that can do damage, especially if the tombstone is old enough. There are specific cleaners out there. You wouldn't want to use anything water pressure wise above a spray bottle. There's a lot of these little things like that. The research is easy to find. Okay. There are products for sale online. I think Amazon carries most of them.
Yeah.
That even I forget the actual department name of it, but the branch of the government whose sole job it is to keep the national monuments, cemeteries, and stuff like that clean. It's what they use. Okay. It's safe on the stone. Look it up and do your due diligence. Again, do your due diligence and then talk to the graveyard. Talk to whatever
groundskeepers, whoever,
or company or whatever runs the graveyard or the cemetery that you're going to. Inform them of what you want to do, what your techniques and the tools used are going to be.
And they may have suggestions. If you're going to do this, if you want to do something like this, here's what you can do that would be super helpful for us. Yep. And here's how you can do it.
And if they say no, you have to respect that.
No means no in every aspect of your life, period.
And the old graveyard that we keep referencing to, it's overgrown. Tombstones are falling over.
We can't even figure out.
We've been putting feelers out for over a year now. I think
we have an idea
of what church technically took over responsibility of it, but we can't even legally and technically we can't even go in and weed whack.
Yeah.
Without permission. So it's an ongoing look because we're gonna eventually get there.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna happen.
It will be.
Well, I get that. It's still a little creepy. I love you for it. It's still a little creepy.
But this is definitely a situation where good intentions doesn't always yield good results.
Yep.
So you can have the best intentions in the world and still end up with charges and fucking up somebody's loved one's memorial drastically. So please don't go in with just intentions and a scrub brush.
Even if it is seemingly abandoned.
It's a bad luck.
Somebody somewhere is responsible for that. It can hit you with trespassing and all that kind of good stuff. And if you accidentally knocked over an old tombstone, boom, there's vandalization. There's desecration of a tomb. I mean, there's a lot things you can go into. Okay, so just great intentions. Make sure you do it the right way. And we're going to move on from it there because I could go on and on.
Yeah, and if you want to do something to beautify or as a service act, go to the grocery store, buy a bouquet of flowers, and just go around and see which graves feel like they need them. Yep. And just put flowers out. Flowers are biodegradable. And usually the groundskeepers, if it is a cemetery or graveyard that is being maintained regularly, will go through and collect them and dispose of them properly when it is appropriate.
Exactly. Okay, so we're in our graveyard. We're looking to get things done. Now, you mentioned earlier on in the beginning that if you want to use the graveyard or a specific spirit, sit with them, get to know them, ask their permission to help. Right. So if we're looking for a specific spirit buddy to do a working with, there's two ways that we can find this. One is going to be through just intuition and walking around. Hello, anybody want to help? I got some stuff I need to do.
Bueller.
Bueller. The other is from research. Again, if you're trying to do a justice working, right? Whether it's you want to find justice, finding a cop's grave would be great, or a judge who is known for being hard with the penalties they doled out. If you're looking for the opposite and trying to get away from some BS charges, you would look for like the grave of a defense attorney that was known for being really good at getting people. It doesn't have to be specifically for justice and law, kind of, but that's the easiest way to, easiest ones to kind of protect.
There was that one working we did that was across from a bunch of veteran graves. Pat being a veteran himself, they are more inclined to being like, I don't know what you're doing, but like, boys got to be boys. Like,
yep.
So
when you can do the research or just the intuition, once you find that specific grave, you want to sit with them. You want to talk to them. Build a relationship. Bring them an offering or two. Give them something. If it's a child grave, bring them a toy. If it's an adult,
or some candy,
give them some booze or some food. Coffee, alcohol, and tobacco are like the three greatest things you can give.
It's literally the holy trinity of ancestor working.
Yeah. Unless we know for a fact the person died from alcoholism or a drunk driver, lung cancer. This is where research comes into it, right? If you're able to research the person, because you don't want to give somebody that died of lung cancer cigarettes. You don't want to give somebody who got struck by a drunk driver and killed some booze, right? It's a respect thing.
So sugar is also always a great option. So candy.
Yeah.
Grab a Hershey bar on your way to the cemetery. You're golden.
Now, do you do this for 5 minutes and then do your working?
No. You're never going to be working the first time or the third time you go into a cemetery.
You don't even ask them to help you on anything. You build that, you find them, you get to a point where they're, interested in talking and getting free stuff, right? And you build that connection. It's just like anybody else. You don't meet a dude at a bar and then 5 minutes later go,
ask him,
hey, I need help moving my house 3 states over. You build a relationship, you become friends. And then you hit them with the, hey, you have a truck and I don't, I need to move. Can you give me a hand?
You don't move into a neighborhood and immediately ask your next door neighbor to help you re-side your house or re-roof your house or clean your gutters. You bring them a plate of cookies and say, hey, I'm new here. What's your name?
Exactly. Now, the other way that you can use a graveyard for workings, and that is using the energy of the graveyard. This is a little different. You still want to sit and you still want to absorb the energy and get to know it and let it get to know you. It's a faster process. Okay. It's the same thing as if you go out in the woods and you look at the tree and be like, hey, tree buddy, this is what I'm trying to do. You care to help me out? So when you're looking at just using the general energy, this is a little bit closer to the first time in being able to use. I would still recommend at least a trip or 2 or 3 doing this before we do that.
You need to understand, you need to memorize the lay of the land regardless.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who works very heavily in primordial energy and using land spirits and using the land very intuitively, I'm still not doing it the first time I walk onto a property.
Yeah.
It's
safer to do it that way when you're working with the general energy than with specific spirits. It's still not necessarily recommended.
Yeah, it's still not smart. And again, there's nothing that's so much of a metaphysical emergency that you couldn't come back the next day.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be once a week. It can be 3 days in a row, but you need to
You need to have that little bit of energetic commingle.
Yeah, like you need to like align energetically and give yourself a minute to feel what's going on.
Yeah. And when we say the general energy of the cemetery, we are talking, because it's steeped in death, it has its own feel.
Yeah.
It has its own energy, and death energy is very transformative. So, it's very much ending and beginning, doing this, doing that. But you hit the nail on the head when it came with nature spirit. All the grass, the dirt, the trees, the everything. This all has a soul and it has an energy. You're tapping into that as much as anything else. So, when the nature spirits are around, even in cemeteries, you do need to get their permission. It's the same thing like when you're foraging. Ask the plant permission to take a snipping. And you only take a little bit from each one, right?
Yeah,
you don't go in and take the entire rose bush. You might take a flower.
And the spirits and the energy residing in a graveyard or cemetery are not just the ones you can see. It's not the gravestones. It's not the plants. Are there root springs?
Yeah.
Is there water running underneath?
Yeah.
That's going to change how you're going to work with that energy if you have running water.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the trees around there? How deep do those roots look? How old are they? There's a lot going on under the surface that you need to tap into if you're going to use it right.
Yeah.
And well. Like, honestly, you're going to have so much better results if you take the time to learn that about that area.
Now, and speaking of all that, let's also touch real quick on harvesting the one thing that most people are interested in collecting when they're there. Graveyard dirt. Graveyard dirt is so valuable in so many different types of workings. Heck, you can even make your own coffin nails just by putting and letting nails rest in graveyard dirt for a while, right? And then pulls in that same feel. It's very versatile. And there are two ways you can go about it. If you have others, fill in and add them. The first one is when you're collecting from a specific grave, right? So this is, you've been sitting with people, you know them. And listen, this includes family. You don't just go to your family's grave, your grave site, and start taking dirt and using their energy and working. You still need to sit with them, talk to them, and get their permission, okay? But if you're taking dirt directly off of someone's grave, you want to make sure that relationship is solid.
Mm-hmm. And you have permission.
And they are okay with it. And trust me, when you ask, and we always say like, oh, you have to ask permission. We're not expecting the dirt, the tombstone, or the plants to talk back. You have to reach out with your energy. You will feel that answer. And you will feel a yes or you will feel a no.
And if you're so close you can't, you shouldn't be in a graveyard doing workings.
Yes.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
But there are tools you can bring along. Pendulum, cards, dice, bones.
If you can't figure out a way to get that answer,
you have no business.
Too advanced for you. And that's not a bad thing. It's just saying that, maybe we should have started with this is intermediate to
definitely intermediate
experienced practitioners for this. If you're brand new at it, if you're still that beginner,
stay out of the graveyard.
Stay out. Stay out.
Just stay out. I'm sorry.
Go to a shop that sells graveyard dirt and stuff like that. Most shops have at least something of the such. So, this is. If you can't feel the energetic answer or have a tool that to be able to get that answer, then
and also
pause and come back to this episode in a few months or a few years.
At the end of the day, there's nothing in a graveyard you need.
No.
Even graveyard dirt, you know what you can substitute in most workings? Mullein. Mullein. It's an herb. It grows like frickin' 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got poofy things. People use it as toilet paper out in the wild. It's also really good for coughs. Honestly.
Very versatile.
It's very versatile, but it is used in at least North American practices as a substitute for graveyard dirt.
Yeah.
So if you cannot obtain graveyard dirt for whatever reason, substitute mullein.
Perfect. It's perfect. Now, the other way that I know of collecting graveyard dirt, and this is, again, asking permission from the graveyard in general, and that is taking it from a section that does not have anybody actively currently.
That doesn't have an active grave.
The one we go to where we get our dirt from, there is a easily accessible section. It is a little path across from the burial sites. It's still graveyard dirt. It still has all of that energy steeped into it, but it has all of it in that more generalized aspect. So you're not taking directly from a person's grave. That's kind of where we mass produce ours.
Yeah, and especially for something like that, it's like, I don't want to be like, hey, buddy, you're going to be funding my... No.
Yeah.
And I particularly like that spot because of, like, the plant life around it, too.
There's a lot of...
Like, old oaks, there's...
wild herbs that fit wonderfully in the metaphysical world. There's a giant grandpa oak. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so, like...
He and I have a talk and connect every time I go in there.
And what did I find the last time we were there? Oh, hemlock.
Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of things you can get from it. There's a lot of ways to go about it. Being polite when we're harvesting, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Big time. In fact, I got a little distracted because I was remembering the first time we were in there. We had a few people with us. But the first time we were in there, as we're standing around getting ready to leave, we had just foraged. Everything was great. All of a sudden, we hear something falling out of the trees and thump on the ground.
It was the robin?
A robin or a sparrow or something.
Yeah, it was a robin.
It quite literally, a bird died and fell through the trees into the ground.
Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. No reason. And it very much felt like it's saying, like, here's a gift. You got what you got, and then here's a little enticement to come back for more later.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we buried it, but at the same time, it just,
we put it
a couple feathers from what fell on the ground in front of us, but, you know, we put it to rest, and it was almost one of those things of, like, it felt like the cemetery and the graveyard was accepting us.
Yeah.
So it was very strange because there was really no reason for it to.
It was wild. We're all just crazy. Like, we all just hear thump. I'm like, what was that?
So the only other thing I think is important to talk about workings wise is if you're doing a working directly in the cemetery. And it can be any number of things. It can be a protection, it can be a hexing, it can be a healing, it can be whatever you're doing. An important lesson with spell work in general, but extra so in this, is the set it and forget it mentality. Once you finish it, turn around and walk away. Don't look back.
Looking back fucked over Orpheus and Eurydice, so don't look back.
Essentially what the spirits that you've just spent all this time asking for help on, there's relationships that you just built up. If you look back at your working, it's showing that you do not have confidence.
You're entrusting your working into their care, and now they're going to take it and do what needs to be done.
Yeah. But
you need to trust them to do that.
If you're looking over your shoulder, that's showing them that you don't trust them to do it, that you're not 100% confident it's going to work, and that you have to double check things. Confidence is key here. Even if you're faking it till you make it, you got to have that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So once you set it, forget it and move on. Obviously, mentally, you're going to keep thinking about it because that tends to happen. But as far as in the physical world, it's done and it's over with.
Yep.
So the last bit here we need to talk about, it's the exact opposite of how we show up. It's how we leave. Now, this one's very important. Again, do we cleanse before we leave? No. Same reasons why. Same reasons why you don't cleanse right before you go in.
You need to get out.
Get out of the cemetery before you cleanse. If you want to cleanse before you get home,
fine.
get a little ways down the street, pull over, do your cleanse.
That brings up an interesting...
Hitchhikers.
No.
Oh.
That time, that was my fault. But don't go straight home. Stop at the gas station.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning for when I say hitchhikers. So.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that time I ended up with like 15 people in my car.
Yeah. This one's an idiot.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, you're not an idiot, but that was definitely not a smart move.
That was not a smart move.
I'll let you tell that here when we finish. But, so, the spirits may just follow you out of there. It could be because they have ill intent.
Could be just they're
what
bored.
everybody thinks is going to be the main reason. It's probably just because they're bored. If they're stuck in the cemetery.
I mean, it can be as pretty as it wants, but it's still the same four walls. Like, at some point, you want to walk out of the house.
Yeah. Or they could be confused. They could have no clue what's really kind of going on, and so they're latching on. You know, we would like to think that once we cross over and pass on, that all of our ailments go with it and go to the wayside. If that's not true, then, I mean, look at all the people with dementia, all that kind of stuff. Confusion's there. And there's also confusion when you first pass on. You know, a lot of people don't know how to accept it or don't realize that they've already died. And to them, they're just kind of stuck there going, hello, what's going on? And they're going to see somebody and be like, oh, that's my ticket out of here.
Yeah. I got to get back to, if you've watched the show Ghosts, think like the dude with the arrow through his neck trying to get to his daughter and his grandbaby that he found out about. Like, he's like, I just want to go see them. Like, I'm just trying to get and find my family and see what's going on.
Yep. So this is the way we get around this is very similar to what you see in cop shows and spy movies and stuff like that, where they drive around the block and take an extra long way home, keeping an eye on the rearview mirror, making sure that nobody's following them. Don't ever go straight home, even if it's just to stop for gas or a gallon of milk.
Grab
or
McDonald's
taking an
or whatever.
extra, 4-block circle around before you get kind of get a little confusion. Get them to be like, oh, screw this, I don't know, we're done, and have them jump out of the car. Okay, but you never want to go just directly home.
Personally, I think stopping somewhere like a grocery store, a gas station, a fast food place is, like, honestly a great idea. First off, those places have a lot of things to distract them. Like, oh, look, shiny, and then you're like, all right, bye.
Yeah. At the same time, you probably just expended a lot of energy. So
get yourself
something to eat. Get yourself a bottle of water. Replenish. So there's things that you can do and other reasons, mundane reasons why it would be good not to go straight home. But this is a good technique for making sure no spirits kind of
shaking the casual straggler, we'll say.
Yeah. Now, I got ahead of myself a little bit before you actually exit the cemetery. When you're walking away from your new grave buddy, thank them.
Haters.
When you're about to get into the car, thank the general cemetery. Thank the energy. Thank the tree spirits. Thank the nature spirits. Anything of the such that you have been in contact with or potentially come into contact with. Thank them. And most importantly, thank that guardian spirit. And be specific. Thank you for allowing me through your gates. Thank you for keeping me safe while I was here. Thank you for watching over me and everybody in the group with me. And
thank you for your job that you're like, thank you for taking on this job and keeping the cemetery safe.
Exactly. So now we're out, and we're out of the way. We need to cleanse when we do get done and we do get home. And if you can, do so before you get into...
Do it before you walk through the door, if you can.
For us, it's always kind of nice because if we're doing a working, we then have to come back to the shop first before we go home. Yeah. So we have that stop-off point. We have a point to cleanse. So
and if they follow us to the shop,
like that,
like they're going to have 50 other spirits here going like, all right, you can stay, but here's the rules. Like, this is how it works here. If you start acting up, they're going to get mad and they're going to kick us all out. So you're like... The spirits have figured out how to get each other to behave. They mostly police themselves.
Yep. Be open and honest with them, and they're going to help along the way. Because, when they find a place they like hanging out at, they don't want to leave either. So, and when they get a little rowdy, you do a little threat out there of, I'm about to cleanse all you motherfuckers out of here if you don't settle it down. And they will police their own.
If you don't get homeboy to stop sticking his fucking head through the bathroom wall while people are taking a shit, we're going to have some fucking problems. And they're like, right.
This building has a weird thing of attracting
pervs.
A spirit that likes to hang out in the bathroom. It's weird. And it's never the same spirit. Like,
no, it's always different. Like, there's always just some random perv that drops by and is like, I'm going to watch you while you pee. And it's like, no, fuck you are.
So key points that we want to make sure that we are cleansing. The head, the neck, your hands, your heart, and your feet.
Everything that touched the graveyard, basically.
Yep.
Spiritually or physically.
Your head and your neck, that connects you to the other side. It speaks to the other side. That makes sense. The heart, you're opening yourself up. That makes sense. Those are the ones that make sense in the spiritual way.
Your hands and feet.
Your hands and feet, we're talking, we've literally touched the ground.
Like, they're doing the physical work, so they need to be cleansed.
These things are going to suck in through.
Wash your hands.
There's also that. Decaying bodies, never hygienic.
Yeah.
Dirt underneath your fingernails. Maybe we just don't want that hanging around there.
Like, maybe we don't want to eat directly after digging in a graveyard, or picking up a raccoon skull.
So, the best ways to cleanse, it's your typical cleansers, right? Smoke, a bath, sound cleansing, Reiki, the list can go on. We covered a whole bunch of different cleansings a couple episodes ago. That's the same recipes, okay? The same things you need to do for that is when you do there. Now, if you catch an attachment, there's some things to keep an eye on. So you should be able to cleanse it away. If you can't, that's when you go to somebody that is more experienced, or you come to a shop like the Menagerie. We have plenty of experience helping people get rid of attachments,
right?
Whether it be on self or property. So, you kind of work your scale up. Try it yourself. Have the confidence that you can do it yourself. If not you, go to a friend that you trust. Go to a religious figure that you trust. Go to, a professional practitioner.
But, step one is, hey, buddy, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Step two is pulling in a bouncer to kick him out.
Yeah.
Step three is calling the cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's closing time, guys. Get out.
Now, if you know the attachment is there, but it's not necessarily feeling malicious, we don't have to go straight for the hardcore cleansing and shoving it out, right? Some of these people, like we said already, they might just be bored, they might be lonely, they might be confused. So, you know what?
Take them back.
Try going back to the cemetery. Head back in. Say hi to the guardian again. Leave a quick little offering. And then when you get in there, be like, all right, buddy, you're home. Get out.
And maybe even tap into the guardian and be like, hey, I found your boy.
Yeah.
Can you make sure he stays here this time?
So, we don't have to go straight. Not everything is
not everything's demonic.
Ghost Adventures is not demonic.
You don't need to antagonize it. You don't need to pick the nuclear option. 99% of the time,
a little compassion goes on.
A little compassion and being firm in your boundaries is all you need.
Yep. And if that is the case in situation, you know what? If you set that boundary and they're like, okay, and they kind of slink on, but you can feel the energy pull away a little bit, but not sever. Ask them if they know how to get home.
Yeah,
ask them if they need a ride home.
Like, do you want me to take you back? Are you lost, little boy? Little girl, are you lost?
So, just be polite to them.
Yeah.
That's all anybody really wants. And that's the whole point of what we're trying to get across here this last hour.
I mean,
be polite. Don't be rude.
When you're dead and buried and you're just chilling in the graveyard and you decide to take a joyride with somebody, and then they immediately start screaming at you like Zach fucking Bagans, are you going to be inclined to give that person the time of fucking day?
Heck no.
Or if they're like, hey man, you gotta go home.
I'd appreciate it if you
like, you're creeping me out. sorry, man, I'll go. My bad. Like, I just really wanted to get out of the graveyard for 20 minutes.
See, with my luck, it's going to be, get out. You can't kick me out. I'm a god. You should give me offerings. No, you're not. You're just some random dead dude. Fine. Can I get a ride back?
This is why I don't want to be in a cemetery. I keep insisting that I want to be cremated and I need to be sprinkled in random places that look like they'd be fun for me to haunt. So I'd just be haunting everybody.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
Like, put a little
maybe
at Disneyland.
Put us in a shaker, mix us together, and just...
Yeah, a little at Disneyland, a little at the beach.
Should imagine being able to haunt the Haunted Mansion.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
So much fun. Or It's a Small World. Maybe It's a Small
A little at my favorite bar, a little at a place where I don't fucking like the people, so I can be a poltergeist there. Like, I gotta have, like, my fun places and my, like, you know what, I'm in a bad mood today, let me go fuck with this guy.
I dig it.
Yeah, like,
I
want to be a horrible raccoon in my afterlife. That my goal is death raccoon.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's my afterlife.
I can definitely see.
You want to be a god, I want to be a trash panda.
And what would you like to come back as this time? Would you like to be male or female? Trash panda. Mask up. Let's go. Doesn't sound like a bad idea.
No.
And on that note, guys, we're going to let you go. We're going to continue our ridiculous conversation off camera. Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us yet again. And as always, episode 13, Ask a Practitioner. If you have questions, if you have comments, concerns, ideas, anything that you think we should hear, even if it's just, dude, you suck. Cool. Let's go. Bring it.
The.Conclave.Podcast at gmail.com.
Or Facebook and Instagram, both at the.conclave.podcast.
And if you're looking for any metaphysical needs, you can find us at the Menagerie PGH on Facebook and Instagram. And our website is the same, themenageriepgh.com.
Yep. We tend to like to use the same name in every place possible.
It keeps it simple.
I forget otherwise. So, if you enjoyed this, and if you enjoy our podcast, please like, share, subscribe, click all the buttons, all the things.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Word of mouth is fantastic. We highly appreciate it. And we appreciate you for sticking around. You have yourselves a wonderful day.
Don't get dead.
Until next time.